Hi friends, it is Wednesday, May 6th, 2020. We are continuing our multiplication unit. Today we're going to decompose arrays in rows and columns and relate to repeated addition. So our learning targets are, we can use multiplication strategies to solve multiplication problems. We can decompose arrays from rows and columns. This word decompose means to take apart. Yesterday we learned the word compose, which means to create or put things together to create things. Decompose means the exact opposite. So you're not putting together, you're taking things apart. And then we can count the total in an array using objects. Let's review. What is an array? An array is a set that shows equal groups of objects or pictures organized into rows and columns. So let's look at this array. I'm using beans in my array. How many rows do you see in this array? Remember, rows are horizontal lines. So I see 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 rows of 5, and there are 5 beans in each row. So now we're going to decompose this array to help us see the equal groups. Remember, decompose means to take apart. So I'm going to just take apart each row and separate them into individual rows. And now our rows, as you can see, when we decompose them, we created equal groups. So each row is an equal group, and we have 4 rows of 5. There are 4 groups of 5 in the array. So let's use our multiplication strategies to find the product. Our multiplication strategies are just ways to help us find the product. And remember, the product means the answer for multiplication problems. So right now, we're looking at arrays. Yesterday, we also used arrays. This is just another strategy to add to our multiplication toolbox. So let's use repeated addition to help us. If we just saw this array, we could use repeated addition to help us find the product or how many in all. So there are 4 groups of 5, 5 in each row. So we can use 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5, which equals 20. So let's say we needed to add one more row. Okay, there were 4 rows of 5 or 5 columns of 4, just another way, but we are looking at the rows. So since we're looking at the rows, our repeated addition was 5 plus 5 plus 5, which equals 20. We added one more row. So now there are 5 rows of 5 or 5 columns of 5. And in this case, since we added another row, and the columns, you would use 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus, let me say that again, 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5, which equals 25. Got mixed up there. Okay, so let's say that we were to remove a column. We remove one column. So there were 5 rows of 5 or 5 columns of 5 at first because we just added that row. But now we want to remove a column. So that's how we're going to remove it. We're just going to draw a line through it. So we removed one column. So now take a look at that array. How can you describe it? You can use the amount of rows. So look how many rows are there and how many are in each row. Or you can look at the columns. How many columns are there and how many are in each column? So there are 5 rows of 4 or 4 columns of 5. Do you see how that changed? So now let's try it again. Look at this array. Think about ways you can describe this array. Once again, I'm using lima beans. How many columns do you see? Let me go back. Take a look at the columns. How many columns do you see? So as you can see in this array, the columns are very much separated. And in that last array, the rows were really separated by a space. So Since the columns are separated in this array, we're going to look at the columns. So how many columns do you see? Did you figure out the answer? And how many are in each column? Let's decompose this array. Remember, decompose means to take apart. We're decomposing to help us see the equal groups. So see how we kind of took it apart to help us see the equal groups? So we can decompose the columns from the array to help us see the equal groups. So how many groups do you see? So let's use the multiplication strategies to find the product. So we decomposed it, but you still need to keep the array together. So you can decompose it just to help you figure out the groups. But when it's an array, it needs to be in rows and columns. Okay, my friends? It can't be separate pictures like that. So 5 columns of 4. And we could use 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4, which equals 20. So the product is 20. What would happen if we added a column? So here's our original array. We had 5 columns of 4. And we use 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4, which equals 20. We're going to add a column of 4. So now there are 6 columns of 4. So we would use 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4, which equals 24. So what if we remove that column of 4? You would go back to the original array, okay? I'm just showing you what happens if you add a column or you remove a column, because you're going to have to do this in your assignment today, okay? So now, what if we removed one row? It's sort of hard to see the rows in this array, but I'm going to try my best to show you. So at first, we had 5 groups of 4. We went back to our original array. You're going to remove a row by crossing it off, but look how many are in each row now. Before we had 4. So let me go back. So before we had 4 in each row. See? Okay. But now you want to cross that off. And so now look how many are in each row. Remember, rows go left to right, horizontal. So now we do not have 4 anymore. Now each row has 3. So now we have 5 groups of 3. Remember, we're looking at the columns. So it'd be 5 columns of 3, or 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3, which equals 15. Please read this message before we continue, because I am super proud of all of you. You can pause it if you want. So my message says, you are all so intelligent and are learning math to help you in 3rd grade. I am so proud of you. From Ms. Fong. So let's continue. So I'm going to show you what you're going to be doing today. Okay. Okay, sorry about that, my friends. Okay, so let me close all of this. So this is what you're going to be doing today, okay? This is lesson 6 in our unit. So you're going to complete each missing part describing each array. So first, it says to circle the rows, okay? So you're just going to use that pen or pencil tool in Seesaw, and you're going to circle the rows. Remember, our rows go horizontally. So now we have 3 rows of 4. And then since it's rows, you need to use repeated addition for the rows. So it's 4 plus 4 plus 4, which equals 12. B, same exact array, but now you're going to decompose it into the equal groups. Remember, take it apart by circling those columns. So 4 columns of 3 this time because it's 1, 2, 3. Okay. So then you're going to write 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3, which equals 12. I want you to notice it's the same exact array. Let me take away my circles. The same exact array, but it's different repeated addition problems because the rows have a different amount than the columns, but it's the same array. And as you can see, the product is the same because the array is exactly the same. Okay? You're just looking at the rows and columns differently. So C, circle the rows. You're going to use that pencil tool to circle your rows. Okay? 5 rows of, there's 3 in each row. 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3, which equals 15. Now you're going to look at the column that are vertical. It's vertically. 3 columns of 5. 5 plus 5 plus 5, which equals 15. Remember, my friends, the products are the same, but the repeated addition equations are different because there's a different amount in the rows than in the columns. But it's the same product because it's the same array. Now, here's the part where I was showing you in our lesson. So use the array of smiley faces to answer the questions below. So you can decompose the array into groups by circling them. You're just kind of trying to take them apart. So rows, I see we have 3 rows and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in each row. Let me erase that. So 3 rows of 5, which equals, well, you just skip count 5, 10, 15. 15 in this array, okay? Now let's look at the column. So the columns, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 columns, and I see 3 in each column. It's the same exact product because the array is exactly the same. So in the C, see how there's 3 lines right here? 1, 2, 3. That means that I'm probably going to use my rows because there's 3 rows. So it's 5 plus 5 plus 5, which equals 15. Okay? If there were 5 lines, I would have to use not my rows, but my columns because there's 5 columns. Okay? So now it's asking us to add one more row. Okay? I'm going to add a row on the top, and I'm just going to do X's. Remember, rows go left to right or horizontally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now, how many smiley faces are there now? Well, there were 15, okay? And then we added 5 more, so it's just 15 plus 5. Or you could skip count. 5, 10, 15, 20. Okay, so now there are 20. Add one more column, okay? So I have, right now, I have 4 rows. So I need to add a column that goes like this, okay? Because remember, columns go vertically. So now I need to add a column. So I need to add, let's see, I'm going to use blue. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because, my friends, remember, I had 5 rows, so I need to add this extra X up on top. So that means that now I have, so you could just count. Let me try to erase these lines. So we have, you can look at the rows. So you could write a repeated addition equation. I see that we have 4 rows and there's 6 in each row. So you could write 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6. Okay? 6 plus 6 is 12. 6 plus 6 is 12. 12 plus 12, which equals 24. Or you could use a repeated addition equation to write the columns. It's 24. So you could write 4 plus 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 columns. So plus 4, plus 4, plus 4, which equals 24. Okay? Number 3, use the array of squares to answer the questions below. So look at this. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Now look at it. Am I looking at my rows that go like this? Or am I looking at my columns like this? Which one has groups of 4? If we decompose it, we can see that, let me use a different color. 1, 2, 3, 4. My rows show groups of 4. So I have 3 in each group. 1, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals, well, 6 plus 6, and 6 plus 6, 6 plus 6 is 12, okay? So there are 4 rows of 3, which equals 12. The product exactly the same. Let's take a look at those columns. You can decompose them by circling them. Remember, columns go vertically. So I have 3 columns of 4, which also equals 12. So now it's asking us to remove a row. So I just cross it off. And now I can see how many squares there are. I could see that there's 3, 3, and 3. 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals 9. Oops. Sorry, friends. So E, question E. Remove 1 column. So I'm going to use a different color. Let me use green. So a column is like this, right? So now I'm just looking at this part. I don't know if you can see that. So how many squares are there now? Well, I see there's 2 and 2 and 2. So I could use the repeated addition equation that says 2 plus 2 plus 2, which is the columns, which equals 6, or the rows. I'm sorry, the rows shows 2 plus 2. Sorry, this is rows. And then 3 plus 3 would be the columns. Okay? So this is 6. All right? So let's take a look at what your seesaw assignment is today. You're going to be looking for the decompose arrays into rows and columns assignment. So, reminder, rows are horizontal, columns are vertical. Okay, that's just there to remind you. It says complete each missing part, describe each array. This is exactly what I just showed you. It's just different shapes. Okay, so you need to circle the rows, then you circle the columns, and then you fill in the blanks. Same with questions C and D. Circle the rows, fill in the blanks, circle the columns, and then fill in the blanks. And then question number 2. There are a lot of directions here just to help you if you forget what you're supposed to do. Okay, but it's just exactly what I just showed you. You need to fill in the blanks, and then you need to add a row. So you can use this pencil tool, and you can draw the triangles, or you could just draw X's, okay? Whatever you want. And then you need to write how many triangles there are, and then you need to add a column, okay? So you would add a column right here of triangles or X's. And then use your repeated addition equation. That's your strategy to help you find the product. Then question 3, use the array of squares to answer the questions below. So once again, you want to use the blanks, fill in the blanks using the pencil tool, using the array, and then you remove a row. So you could just cross it off, okay? And then you write how many there are, and then a column, you would cross it off, okay? And then you can use repeated addition equation once again to help you solve that. And then once you're done, you want to click the check when you're done. Okay, my friends, my intelligent friends, good luck.